5:39. Roll call, please.
Trustee Dutton informed us that she will be absent.
Right.
Trustee Steve.
Present.
Trustee House.
Present.
Trustee Brown.
Present.
Trustee Holmes.
Trustee Holmes advised that he was going to be absent tonight.
And Trustee Henyard is here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, if we can stand for our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if we can remain standing, I'll ask Matt to lead us in prayer tonight.
Peaceful meeting. Everybody have a safe trip home. Amen.
Amen.
I had to laugh on that. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to laugh.
Amen. Great job.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Yeah. Okay, next thing on the agenda is general announcements.
Mayor, if I could be recognized.
Okay, go ahead, trustee.
The Village Finance Committee meeting was scheduled for the February 23rd, which is, I'm sorry, October 23rd, which is this Wednesday, but we had to postpone that till next week, Wednesday, October 30th at the same time, 5:30. So I just want to advise everybody, our Village Finance Committee meeting will be next week, Wednesday at 5:30 p.m.
Okay, so noted.
May I be recognized, Mayor?
Go ahead, trustee.
Good evening, everyone. I want to announce that the Melanie Fitness Pool is open. Today we did a grand opening. You can give that a round of applause. So I would encourage everyone to come out, work out. It's in your village, and I'm surprised. I'm finding a lot of people don't know that Melanie Fitness is there that live in the village of Dolton. So please come out, support. We have the Detox Cafe that's opened up as well. So you can come in and get some healthy food, and you can come in and get some good, healthy classes. The pool is open, and we're working on evening classes right now. But in the morning, it is really, really jumping in there. And it's the energy is much better. People are excited. The changes are coming. So I encourage everybody to come out and get a Melanie Fitness membership. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sound is broken.
It's broken?
No, it's working.
And today, with the opening of the pool, we had how many new memberships?
Well, today this is before I left, around 12, we had 4 new memberships and 7 renewals. And right now, for the month, we're almost about 45, 46 new members just for the month. That's not including renewals. So new members, so I really want to average 100 new members a month. And that's on top of the renewals. So people are coming back. The word is getting out there. People are finding out about it. So we encourage everybody. And we take silver sneakers. We take different insurance policies. So please come over and support your Melanie Fitness Center.
And bring somebody with you.
Yes.
So they can join.
Yes.
The only way this facility can last is if we are self-sustaining. We've kind of given ourselves a year to make sure that we could, not looking necessarily to make a profit. We're looking at least for it to be self-sustaining so we don't have to come out of our pocket to keep it together. This is one of the only pools in the area, or I guess Sand Ridge has a pool and South Holland has a pool. But in regards to Fitness Center, Melanie Fitness Center has a pool. And this village spent a lot of money to get it back in place. Some of the money we shouldn't have had to redo, but it's over the bridge now, so we just want to make sure that it stays open and serve the residents here in the village.
One more thing also, I checked with the finance department. So as of last week, the money that we brought in for this month so far at pretty much in the middle of the month is more than what we did the last maybe 10, 12 months and what we did last year in October. So the people are coming back and the money is coming in as far as making that place self-sufficient. So it's trending upward. It's trending up, it's going up. So I'm excited about that. Yes, I got a membership.
You're doing a great job over there, Ed.
Thank you.
All the time that you spent over there, and and recruiting and trying to make a positive impact there at the Village Melanie Center. Okay. Madam Clerk, you had an announcement?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I want to remind the Board of Trustees and everyone that there will be a public hearing this coming Saturday at 10 a.m. here at the Village Hall. The purpose of the public hearing is to consider a proposed ordinance by the Board of Trustees which would allow the legal sale of cannabis in certain specified locations within the village. And all interested members of the public will be heard on this proposed ordinance. Again, it is a public hearing, so the purpose of the hearing is to hear from citizens and residents. That's again at 10 a.m. this Saturday here at the Village Hall, and we'll continue as long as needed. That being said, just to remind the faithful for Project Connect, the police department's and monthly meeting, the public hearing will supersede Project Connect. So there will not be a Project Connect meeting this coming Saturday as originally planned. Instead, there will be the public hearing on the proposed cannabis ordinance at 10 a.m. here at the Village Hall this Saturday, October 26th.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any more general announcements?
Yes, I have one.
Go ahead, Trustee.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank y'all for coming out. Just want to give you a heads up. This Saturday, we having a cancer luncheon here in the village of Dolton at Dolton Park District at the main field house. That address is 14800 Evers. It starts at 11. It's from 11 until 2 p.m. If anybody would like to volunteer or just come out, it's free. We are taking donations, and that will go to our cancer fund that we have held in the village of Dolton. My phone number is 708-297-6859. Again, that cell number is 708-297-6859. Or you can email me at tiffanyforchange.com, at yahoo.com. Either way, you can contact me. But we will be giving away wigs for people. We have gift cards, things of that nature, and also ring doorbells on that day. So if you have anybody that want to participate or just come and support or give a donation, please reach out. Again, 11 to 2 at Dolton Park, main field house. Thank you.
Okay. Order of business. This is for discussion only at this Committee of the Whole meeting. First thing on the agenda is armed security and security cameras. Anyone with a liquor license, and that's by Trustee Henry.
Thank you. I placed this on the agenda, as you guys know, 2 weeks ago. Again, I asked for the board to reach out and tell me how they would like to write the law. The reason why I put this on the agenda is because of the crime that we have in the village of Dolton. We have had a ton of shootings over the last several months, and I felt we need to do something about it as a board. Basically, what I am aiming for is for anybody that has a liquor license in the village of Dolton to require, well, we want to make them have security cameras, interior and exterior. So that way, when there's a crime, the police officers can get access to it. And I also would like to have it on file for 14 or 15 days. I thought that most security cameras can hold up to 30 days. But the attorney advised me that normally it's held for about 15 days until they can go and review the camera system. So again, I'll leave this up to my board to add to this law. It will be an ordinance in place come November. We will vote on this. I know you all did tell me y'all agree with it, but I just want to make sure, is there anything y'all want to add, take away, or just help me write the law so that we can make sure it's right?
No, I do not have nothing to add to it. I talked to Attorney Murphy as far as why couldn't we put armed security there. He gave me some legal reason why we couldn't, but I'm in agreement. They, force them to have security cameras. That helps solve any crime with cameras nowadays. So I'm in agreement with it.
I think we have to, if we put this in place, we have to put in the requirements of how does she be operated and maintained, and a penalty if this is passed, a penalty if they don't maintain the system. And I know in regards to some of the security systems, depending on what type of system that you have, is to the hard drive that you have and the length of activity, the length that they actually are able to go back. So I know in some of the cases that some of the businesses that had cameras, at the time the police asked to see them, they said that they weren't operating, and in some cases that's to their convenience. So I think we have to put in some regulatory stuff, penalty wise, and whether they need to be checked on a quarterly basis or biannual basis. So it's food for thought.
Mayor, two things that I did place in this was it will be the responsibility of the landlord. That way it get attached with the building. So say, for instance, a landlord constantly renting out their store or their commercial property, the person can't remove their cameras. So the landlord will be responsible for putting cameras on the property, and each tenant, as they come in and out, will be responsible for, I guess, paying the fee. Now, they can structure that however they like. The other thing is to give them 30 to 60 days to put the cameras in place. I wanted to make sure everybody was in agreement with the time frame. And also an annual inspection. Those was the main three that I did add. Anybody got any suggestions or?
I'm in agreement.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Tammy? Trustee?
She says yes.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with
And you can have the attorney drafted.
everything.
Okay, so I will, I guess, do I direct that to the clerk, or you just want me to send an email to Attorney Murphy?
Attorney Murphy.
Okay, so I'll send an email to everybody in agreements to move forward with the ordinance. It'll be placed on agenda for November.
Now, are you talking about the both combination, the armed security and the security cameras?
Just the cameras. He told
Okay.
me that I could not do the armed security. I could not basically make a law to state that people must have armed security. I did try, based off of the Moonlight situation. I thought we should, but he said I could not. So right now, as it stands, it's just security cameras,
Okay.
interior and exterior.
Next thing on the agenda is item 2, liquor establishment hours. Trustee Steve?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I put this on the agenda to see what the board says. Right now, liquor stores or taverns or bars can open up Sunday through Sunday, or Monday through Thursday to 2 a.m., and then on the weekend it's 3 a.m. And we're finding some of the instances, some of the crime happened at that 3 a.m. hour, that 2:30 hour. So I'm suggesting or recommending or say that we move that from 3 o'clock on the weekends to 2 o'clock on the weekends. So and it's not, they're not open that late on the weekends. So I want to get the input from the board and to see what they feel about that. So it will be 2 a.m. instead of 3 a.m. on the weekends. Any input from other trustees?
Current ordinance is in place is 2 during the week, and then on the weekends, which includes Friday night and Saturday night, is 3 o'clock. So you're saying that you want it across the board for all 7 days at 2 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought we were going the weekday to 1
Okay.
on the weekday. Is that correct or no?
Well,
We can. I mean, I'm open to that.
Okay.
I thought,
We can do Monday through Thursday at 1 o'clock for taverns and liquor stores, and then Friday night going to Saturday night, and Saturday night going to Sunday at 2.
okay. I thought when you discussed it with me, you wanted just the liquor carryouts at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then the I don't like to use the clubs, but
The bars.
right, at 2 o'clock. So how do you want it, Trustee? What do you recommend?
I would suggest, or I recommend, that would be 2 across the board, but it's up to the trustees. It's not just me alone. Any other input from the other trustees? Tammy said 1 o'clock. Trustee Brown said 1 o'clock throughout the week, and then 2 o'clock on the weekend.
Well, I think my
Correct that.
thought would be, if there's not a lot of activity, if we're having a lot of crime during the hours of 1 and 2, then we want to make a change. But if not, I would say leave it at 2 o'clock, because it's not impacting the business, might as well let them get one more hour of service. But if we have a lot of activity, or if there's some challenges between that hour, then I would say we go ahead and change what I'm not familiar with, and maybe Chief Mobley or somebody can give me feedback on, are there a lot of occurrences? Would that 1 hour make a difference, or is it requiring more of the village?
I still,
Go ahead.
I'm still not clear on, you're just talking about the bars right now.
The bars right now, yes, sir, at 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Because the bars right now on the weekend, Friday going to Saturday, Saturday going to Sunday, is at 3 o'clock.
Right.
So to move that up to 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And then Trustee Brown suggested that we do 1 o'clock throughout the week from Monday through Thursday. And that's for liquor stores, and the liquor stores and the taverns.
Okay.
I'm saying 2 o'clock.
I got some questions. What's the reason for moving the time down? Is it a reason?
The reason, because the few instances we had was at that late hour.
Okay.
And 3 o'clock is 3 o'clock in the morning is from my understanding, it used to be 4 or 5 in the morning. So that moved to 3, but to move it up to 2 on the weekend, I think 2 o'clock is a reasonable hour for Friday and Saturday.
No, I'm just asking. I just want
Yeah.
clarity for
That's the reason
why
why.
we doing what we're doing. And then my other question is, did you ask any of the business owners that actually you want to shut down at that time frame?
I talked to a few of them, and the main thing they said was 2 o'clock was a fine for them.
Okay. It's not.
At first I thought 12 o'clock, but 2 o'clock was fine for them.
Okay.
Because a lot of them close at 2 o'clock anyway.
Okay, because that's what I thought
Yeah.
this was. I thought this was an example of Harvey, because I know Harvey kind of is going back and forth with that. I think their time frame is midnight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But I know they're going back and forth currently with the time. So I was just trying to understand, why are we changing times, and if so, is it feasible to go to 12, or you figure 1 and 2 is the best times?
I figured 1 and 2, 1 throughout the week and 2 on the weekend.
Okay.
Being that right now, majority of them, we have a few that open up till 3, but majority of them still 2 o'clock would be a reasonable hour. So you're not interfering with too much of their business.
Okay, I totally agree with you. I'm in support of that, but I do have a question for the chief. Is there crime higher at that time frame? Can you tell us more about that?
At this time, we don't have any actual data to say yay or nay, but we do know the later establishments stay open, the more people drink, and the risks and liability for things to happen would take place. But I agree with the times that trustee is stating. 1 p.m. through the week, 2 a.m. on the weekend is the normal time. Some villages or towns may have an after-hour spot that may stay open to 3 or 4, but 2 is a good time, because that way they should actually start shutting down at 1:30, and they should be cleared out by 2 a.m., not shutting down at 2 a.m.
So what's the protocol if someone's not shut down by that time? Do they get fined or what?
Yeah,
They'll get fined. The police officers, the supervisors that work the midnight shift, they're very diligently with checking the businesses on the weekends. There have been a few businesses that have been over capacity, and they shut it down. They actually speak to the promoter or the owner at that time, and they have actually shut it down. So the supervisors on the midnight shift there, they do go around and do the spot checks on all the lounges or businesses or clubs that we have.
Okay, thank you.
When Trustee Steve talked to me about this, he had a concern about my neighbor, Harvey. He put in regulations where everything shuts down at 12, carryouts and in the bars. So where would those people go? Probably to Dolton. And so there was concern that with the people that we have already and the intoxication factor, these bars and locations will be entertaining more people than what they're entertaining now. So we're trying to reduce the risk of any problems that would occur. So, Trustee Henry, you said you concur with the 1 and 2?
Yes, I do.
Trustee Steve?
I concur.
Trustee House?
I agree.
Trustee Brown?
I agree.
Okay. You have a consensus on that. It will be on the next, and one of the other things we need to do is put in an effective date. How much notice you want to put in to notify those businesses of the new ordinance that will be passed? December 1st, November 15th?
I would suggest 3 months.
3 months.
That's my suggestion.
Okay.
3 months before it's implemented.
I can disagree.
Yeah. Trustee Steve?
3 months is a little far out, but I can see we're going to November. I see January 1st. That's 2 months, about 2 months. Starting the new year.
Now, you have to remember New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So,
Why can't we start 30 days from today? Or
Passed it
give
yet.
them a month?
yeah, well, not yet. We haven't passed it yet, but you can start it 30 days from
From the date, which
From-
is November,
from-
so December, right?
which is from the time that it's passed.
Right.
Yeah.
So December, I'm fine with that.
What do you, Trustee Steve? What did you?
If we did 30 days from the night day is passed, that would be December, sometime in December.
Somewhere in there. Yeah.
That's fine with me.
Trustee Brown?
December is fine.
Trustee Henry? 30 days, you said?
Yes,
From the
December.
date it is passed?
Yes.
Okay, and Trustee House, you wanted 3 months.
Mr. Mayor, may I be recognized on that?
Go ahead, Trustee. I'm sorry, go ahead, Madam Clerk.
30 days sounds feasible, but do keep in mind 30 days from passage does not mean 30 days from the mayor signing the ordinance and the ordinance being reprinted and mailed to the business owners, some of whom are out of town. So I would suggest somewhere between 30 days and 3 months, maybe a little far outside, but I think 30 days in practice and from experience, from passage to notifying in real time the owners of the businesses in order to allow them time to plan and change their business hours, I think we're closer to 3 months, frankly.
You usually get the ordinances done before then, but we'll talk about it.
Well, we can get the ordinance. The ordinance is passed that night, and if we got it signed immediately, we could send it out that week. But from experience, when we passed other ordinances affecting businesses, not all the businesses are local, and it takes some time to get to the powers that be, and then the powers that be have to implement the changes.
I got confidence in you, Madam Clerk.
And I have confidences in the businesses from the extent of our experience, but I do know in the past it hasn't gotten through to everyone as soon as we would have liked. So perhaps we can talk about that and think about that sooner, and the ordinance would have, the operative date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next thing on the agenda is item 3, Security Patrol Services, Mayor Rogers. When we were faced with all the crime within a short period of time, God forbid the murders and the shootings and things like that, we didn't have police officers in place. We didn't have the funding to hire police officers. I was approached by Professional Pride Security Company in regards to their assistance with helping us patrol the village. It's done in some of the areas in the city of Chicago. They're actually an extra pair of eyes which will be patrolling here. They would spot criminal activity or suspicious activity where in fact they would call the police. It would be at a reduced rate than what we're paying our police officers to notify and help secure this village. So A couple of weeks ago, I'm given their whole dossier here to the trustees, and I asked them to take a look at it. There's a couple of instances in here where we have to make some changes. I talked with Mr. Wilson, the owner of Professional Pride Security, today. He's willing to make some modifications that suits this board to help out with the securing this village and providing some assistance. So, Professional Pride Security, they're located in South Holland, Illinois. So, had conversation with several of the trustees on an individual basis to go over some things with them, and we just like to get your consensus tonight on whether or not we should approach this issue.
Go ahead. I looked over it. I think it's, from my understanding, we're on like a 90-day trial period with them, 3 months to see if it works out. But any additional help we could use, and I would defer or not, lean on the finance committee to see the funding and everything, how much it's going to cost. But anything that's going to help out with any extra eyes on the streets is a plus, because I was even thinking about the Moonlight location. If we had an extra officer just sitting there, that would slow down a lot. So I think extra eyes is always good for us in this village. It's just figuring out the money that's going to cost, how do we budget for it, and how do we pay for it.
So I think my feedback with this assistance, because I think it is a good program. I'm familiar with Professional Pride. I do know that they do good work. In terms of the finance, with this assistance, reduce the amount of overtime, and I'm thinking from a budgetary standpoint. And I know we also approved for 20 additional officers. We'll be adding 20 additional officers as well as Professional Pride, or would that kind of be a mixture?
I'm going to say I've talked to both chiefs in the fire department and the police department. It's very critical that we reduce the overtime. I think we're on track now to be close to $700,000 in overtime, where we should not be. I've asked them to implement some plans to reduce that overtime. This would not replace the police. The board gave us authority last year to hire 5 police officers, this year to hire 15 police officers, and taking that in consideration, we have to look at the average salary of a police officer, entry level, and then the average salary of a 20-year police officer with the cost of health insurance, with the cost of pension. This will be well under that cost to give us additional a complement of manpower that can actually make those calls, be on the scene when something happens. And these would be either off-duty police officers on their patrol that's hired by Professional Pride, and or retired police officers. So it would cost us a lot less money to put them out there to have those extra eyes and stuff. And until we can get the budgeting, the money to hire police officers, I think this would help. They originally submitted an agreement for 1 year. They're willing, in talking to some of the trustees, they're willing to go on a trial basis of 90 days, supply us with all the activity that they do, where they monitor any offenses, to basically kind of provide the information, what they're actually doing and how they're doing it. So I think that 90 days would give us a good evaluation period if we want to continue to retain them and go for it. But it would be an immediate solution to us not being able to budget for police officers with the pensions and the benefits that go along with the hourly rate of the police officers. So we got 2 consensus. Trustee Brown.
Okay, one question. They will all be armed, correct?
No.
Well, you do have some security that is armed, and some that are not. So.
Now, we could, and Mr. Wilson is here. He's in the back there. We could have armed, but looking at armed, the cost of them will be higher.
Okay.
Now, we can, it's up to the board whether they want to have them armed or what. And Mr. Wilson has a diversification to arm them or not have them armed. So we want to limit our liability, and we want to limit their liability. And did you want to have something to say, Mr. Wilson? Okay. Trustee Henry, did you have an opinion?
Yeah, couple questions. One, why are we getting security when we have our police officers? I thought that's what their job was.
Is all these past meetings, Trustee, you should be aware of what we talked about in regards to the shortage of manpower.
Okay, I'm fully
So-
aware, so that's why I thought we was hiring more officers for that. Is that not what we're doing?
But we're trying to hire officers. We have hired some officers, but when you bring an officer on in regards to a 30 to 35 hourly rate versus on security side, and then versus bringing an officer on where you're going to pay his hourly salary. I think he started with 58,000, Chief. 58,000 plus the pension, plus the medical. You're looking at probably close to $100 an hour, $75 an hour.
So I guess
So-
what I don't understand is, I don't understand how the community will feel safe if it's just security and you just stated they're not armed. So I'm a little lost.
Now, there's a lot of
On what they be
community.
doing.
There's a lot of communities, and we can arm them, but there's just a cost of arming them because the risk goes higher. Now, there's a lot of communities that have community watch, whether they're volunteer, they pay them. In the city of Chicago, in the 5th District, they have a security company that provides security. They call the police. So there's just a cost of doing everything. So Security Pride has an option of having them armed or unarmed.
Do you have the dollar amount for this?
It was in your, let me see, it was in your
I don't have it with me.
package that it was $35 an hour.
$35 an hour?
Yes.
But is it a budget amount, like meaning total for the 3 months that we're?
We can design this program any way we want it. We can design the number of hours they work. We can design the areas that they will patrol. They can put manpower there to rove. So we can custom fit this the way that the board will like it.
Well, one thing that I'm not in agreement with is, I know that Trustee Steve stated that they can monitor the moonlight. And the reason why I'm not in agreement with it is because the owners was here at the last board meeting and they stated they will pay for armed security. So I don't think it should be on a village dime for us to pay and have it if they're willing to pay for it.
Part of the dish, well, there used to be an armed police officer that worked there. There was still loitering, there was still drug trafficking, there was still loud music, drinking in the car. So for them paying for it, that's fine, but we don't have to direct, and Trustee Steve said that's just an example. We don't have to direct our security to sit at moonlight, but the armed security part, it didn't work before, and fine. If they want to pay for it, that's fine. That could be in addition to whatever we try to put there, but and they suggested the armed security and paying for it if we remove the concrete blocks.
Okay, I guess what I'm saying is, if we're going to use the taxpayers' dollars, where are we going to have the security people at? Like, where are they going to be?
Trustee, I just said we can custom fit it.
I know,
If
so
we
there's
got-
no plan right now. We just speaking that we're going to hire and then come up with the plan on where they're going to go?
Well, we're going to analyze where our problems are. Some of the hot spots where we've had shootings and other criminal offenses, we're going to custom fit and put those people there, where they can actively be there, they will not be assigned jobs or be assigned domestics or calls and handle traffic accidents. Whereas the police, they can sit there and monitor a certain situation. It could be a hot spot, and then they get a call, they got to leave.
Excuse me, may I recognize?
Any other community use something like this? Do any other municipality use?
There's a lot of communities that use secondary security services to provide
With their police?
crime prevention.
Like back and back? Okay, I guess Chief Mobley, how do you feel about this? Is this something you want for your department? No one ever asked you what you wanted, so.
whereas security is not the police, it will be an extra set of eyes that can, like the mayor stated, we had a special detail. The citizens had reached out to the mayor. In his position, he took action and called a special detail that we did, which caused a lot of overtime. So it was just a Band-Aid, putting a Band-Aid on the solution, but we can't have that all year round. As we continue to try to hire police officers and seek funding, I don't think it's a bad idea. It will curve some of the things, but it will not stop it, because they are not the police and they're only limited to what they can do. So it's more like a deterrence. I have not had a chance to sit down with the mayor or the owner. We will do that, and there's some things and questions that I have, like, will these individuals be in like a unmarked squad car looking like a Crown Vic, something that would deter these criminals and people of that's doing these activities, that they will see them and they will be like, okay, they got more people. They're not going to know who they are. So that's something that I have to sit down and talk with them. But I'm not against it, but we do have to realize and that they're not the police, and it's only going to be so much that they can do. If you hire armed, like the mayor said, that brings the price up. Also, it brings your risk and liability up. What if this armed security officer takes action and shoot the individual and injure them and possibly kill them? Then the security company, and then when they find out they were working for the village of Dolton, they're going to try to sue us as well. So it would be nice to have armed, but unarmed, I think, will suffice just to be an extra set of eyes and that can deter as we until we can fix this budget problem.
Yeah, and I agree in some points, but it's still, if they didn't have a weapon and got somebody that's robbing a store, for instance, they gonna get robbed too. So I'm not understanding
Well,
how armed.
they're not going to be.
armed.
They're not going to be in the store.
I'm just saying, like, okay.
I
Those are
think-
my concerns. That's all. I'm not against it totally. I've just got some concerns of how they're gonna help the community
And
if they're not armed. So
you
they
have-
watch dogs basically.
You have to realize these are going to be current off-duty police officers or retired off-duty police officers that know exactly how far they can go and what they can do.
So they got
and
concealed
enforcement
carry,
action.
right? If they're right.
Not all of them.
No.
Can I
Okay.
speak?
Go ahead, Mr. Wilson.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Robert Wilson. I am Vice President of Professional Pride Security. Just to give you a little background before I go into the company. I am a retired veteran MP for the United States Army. I'm also a retired police commander as well. I came out of Cabrini, grew up in Cabrini. I was the police back in the days when the projects was up. I was part of the citywide gang unit. And the process of it is this right here. The personnel that will be in your town, they are off-duty police officers with other municipalities. They have TAN cards up under my security agency to carry in the capacity that they are working for the agency. That means that they do not utilize, and they cannot utilize concealed carry if they are working for an agency in a in a security capacity. Concealed carry is when you are not working in a security capacity. I have all type of insurance to cover our people dealing with liability. This is not the first time that I've done this.
Okay, you done?
To the point.
I think also, that, again, like the chief said, it's an extra eyes that we need out there. That will be a help. I don't think it can't have no negative effect when you have extra eyes out there to let the police know this is going on here, this is going on here. So I think it's a plus until we get, because I'm learning that it's such a process just to get lateral police officers to come to Dolton. Man, you're talking about 3, 4, 5 month process, and then even to get them trained up to be on their own, it's still a process. So in the intermediate, in the in between, this will be an extra set of eyes that we have out there. I think it would be. I think it's we can't lose in this. But we need the extra eyes out there for right now.
And just to let the residents know, it would not be a cost extra to the village for these personnel to be armed. It would not. I would not do that. They are to be armed anyway. They're state certified. So even when they're off duty and not working, the state said that they can carry.
Oh, so you're stating that they all will be armed?
They're carrying regardless. Even when
Okay.
they're not working for me, they're carrying.
Okay, well, the mayor stated they would not.
But that's
Well,
what.
he had mentioned the fact he could modify it today when I spoke.
Yes, it can be modified if you want them not carrying on your property. But I'm just letting you know, these are peace officers, and up under the state statute 720, they are carrying.
Okay. Well, do you understand what I'm saying? If you're not carrying, I'm paying you $35 an hour to protect.
But
the
that's your
people.
call. That's your
And
call.
we both get robbed. That
Yep.
doesn't make sense. Why am I paying you
But
$35?
but I'm
and you
saying-
can't protect us.
I'm with you, but that's your call.
Mm-hmm.
If you let me do what my profession is to protect you. So if you let me do my profession, I'm going to protect you by all means that's necessary. But if you want to turn around and disarm me, then I can't do it 100. I only can do it 75 or 50.
Well, I didn't disarm you, but yeah, I just trying to get the understanding of why y'all don't have weapons. Got it.
Mayor, if I can be recognized.
Go ahead, trustee.
Okay, I think that I'm seeing this as a, I don't want to say alternative, but something to kind of stimulate more eyes on the street. I do believe we would need to identify specifically how much between now and the next meeting we want to allocate towards this, so we know what the cost would be. But I do also think that some of it could be offset with the overtime that the mayor mentioned. So I think that may be some details we want to iron out between now and the next meeting.
And I totally agree. I think we need a plan. It sounds like no plan. It sounds like the chief didn't have one either when he spoke as to what would they be doing. Would they be driving unmarked cars? Them my questions as well. Like, what's the plan? When you ask for a vote, I'm in support. I'm not against things. I just got questions. If you can clear my questions, I'll vote for it. No problem.
I don't know how much better I can explain it. I told you we could, before it's implemented, we can modify and customize it the way it would work for us. So, that's basically all I got to say. Okay, why don't we move on? Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
We pretty much got a consensus on this. Item 4 is the county property tax relief. That's me. There's 3 parcels here in the village of Dolton that I met with and would like us to consider, this board to consider a Class 8 tax concession for them. And that's at 1421 East Sibley. That's the former Marathon gas station that we shut down due to a tenant that was operating there, selling cigarettes and other activities. So they were shut down. They've been, I guess, it's been vacant for about 2 months now. The owner of the property has a new owner that's interested in buying the property, and he wanted to have a Class A be considered by the board here. The other 2 properties is the Dolton Bowl and the Soccer Dome. Currently, the Dolton Bowl is paying $200,000 in taxes, and the Soccer Dome is paying $100,000 in taxes. They pay $300,000 a year in taxes. They said that they're going to need some relief there, or they're just about ready to walk away and leave those buildings abandoned. So I guess earlier it was $340,000. They appeal. They got a $40,000 concession, but it's still at $300,000. So they asked me to present it to the board and try to get some consensus on whether they want to move forward to help them get the Class 8. Trustee Steve.
I definitely understand. I've been over to the Dolton Bowl and the Soccer Dome, and we definitely don't want them places empty. I would like to, if we give these Class 8s to these businesses, will they commit to do something for the town, as far as some type of donation for senior Thanksgiving dinner, or I mean, something that they can sacrifice and do. If we do this for them, then is that even a possibility? But I do not want an empty Soccer Dome or a Dolton Bowl. And then the Marathon gas station, the owner, he definitely he said he has a buyer to make that, to remodel that whole spot, because it's just an ugly building sitting there right now. So that place is going to be remodeled and be done over brand new. So I understand.
Well, I spoke with the owner. The owner of the Dolton Bowl and Soccer Dome, he owns both places. He's former coach for the Chicago Fire, I think it is, soccer team. He said he's had a couple of potential buyers, but as soon as they find out what the tax is, they couldn't meet bank requirements to get financing. So that's where they're at now. Trustee House.
I'm in agreement with the tax relief.
I have a question. The Marathon, the previous owners, did they have a Class 8, correct? Or no?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not sure how long this owner has had it, but that was a tenant in there that was actually shut down. So here's a current buyer for it. Trustee Brown.
You already know I got a lot of questions.
Trustee Brown, I didn't get you asked the question.
Right. I said, was it a Class 8 from the previous person who had it?
No.
Okay. You answered.
No, but are you I mean, what's your opinion about giving them Class 8, these properties?
So also, it's going to be still a gas station, but with new owners and upgrades or remodeling, correct?
Trustee Steve, you had some.
Yes, the owner said he has a new buyer that wants to remodel the whole thing and make it all brand new, so it won't be that old Marathon. And they want to get rid of the drive-through that was there.
Get rid of the drive-through and put the car wash there.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement.
Okay.
I'm good.
Trustee Henry.
Oh, thank you. First, I just want to advise the new board that be careful on things you say up here. I know the attorney's not here, so I'm just telling you from experience. You're treading lightly on pay to play by asking a person to give us something for us giving them a tax break. We don't do that here. So I just want to set the record straight. I have nothing to do with that. You vote how you like, but I don't want anything from anybody for my vote up here. I do it strictly from the heart and because I care about community and I want people to stay here. With that being said, the Marathon, I'm totally in agreement with that one because you guys stated that once the person got out of that property, he was eligible for the Class 8. I'm fine with that. My next question, the Dolton Bowl and the Soccer Dome, have they ever had a tax break?
From what I understand, the taxes was originally $340,000. They filed an appeal. They reduced them $40,000, and I'm not sure what year that was. But of course, when you do appeals, you got to do them every year. So it's just they said they're not getting the business like they used to get, and but the tax burden is still there.
So both have had one?
I'm sorry.
Both companies had a tax break, Dolton Bowl and Soccer Dome?
It's owned by the same
It's the same
family corporation.
person. But
Yeah.
it's two separate PIN numbers, correct?
I think it's 8 to 10 PIN numbers.
Okay. And what are we giving them, a Class 8, or what are we giving them?
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They haven't applied yet.
They haven't applied yet. They asked when we put it on, see where the board would be, and then their attorney would present everything before the next board meeting.
So why did they come up now for a Class 8? I know I've been on this board 6 years. I never heard them ask for a Class 8. So
Well,
Why now?
Over the last 6 years, as you know, or you should know, or in some of the residents know here, the way the increases have happened in Thornton Township in regards to property taxes. So I can't remember exactly. They showed me what their taxes was 5 years ago, and it's almost double where they were. But right now where they stand, it's like $99,800 and something for the soccer dome, and it's $199,000 some change for the Dome Bowl. So you know what kind of numbers you got to do business-wise to stay afloat. So, and he says, we're just at the point right now, it's very difficult. Bowling alleys are closing. And you know, the alternative may be that one day they're out of business and they walk away and you have 2 empty buildings there.
Okay, so my next question would be, I recall the company on Woodlawn, the storage unit, came before this board and asked for a Class 8 as well. You stated that they already had one, they didn't need another, and you're stating up here now that they're threatening to leave, and so did they, but we chose not to give them one. So what's making them different from the previous company?
You just said it. You said that I said that the storage on Woodlawn had one. These particular locations have never had one.
You said they had one.
No.
No, I didn't.
For what's the 340 then?
That's an appeal. That's a tax appeal. That's not a Class 8.
So they never had one at all?
As far as I know, no. And they said they had.
Okay. Well, I'll ask the attorney because it don't seem like they will wait 6 years before coming before the board to get a Class 8.
Well, it businesses change. The taxing escalation here has changed, and the Thornton Township is one of the highest property tax townships in the country. You know, so as businesses change, bowling alleys closing, competitions get different, sales are different. You have to make adjustments. So, and all I'm saying is that you can vote against it. You know, you had a right to vote against it, but looking at where some people, residents, have walked away in the middle of the night. We don't know if the houses are vacant or anything like that. Businesses are shut down and walked away. So then you go to the next step. You have to deal with the vacancy and the vandalism. Could be worth $100,000 today when they walk away, but by the time the vandals get done with it, it's worth $20,000. So then the longer that it sits out there abandoned, the more subjected that it is, the longer it will be subjected to vandalism. So, and to try to keep vandalism down when it becomes vacant, next, you know, a lot of times we absorb the cost for board up.
Okay. Do you know what's going on with the soccer dome? Like, as far as businesses, like what's going on there?
First of all, they told me that the soccer dome is only active for 6 months out the year. They asked for a concession in regards to the taxes because they only operate 6 months out of the year. They don't have air conditioning there, and to put air conditioning there would cost over $250,000. So, you know, they're trying to pay $100,000 in taxes with only having six months of earnings, and some of those soccer teams have moved to other locations, so it's been kind of challenging for them.
And so, Mayor, who eats the tax burden if we give a break to more people for Class 8s?
Be honest with you, I'm not sure how the tax burden would be shifted. You can ask our
It will go
village
to the
attorney.
residents, right? Somebody got to make up the difference that we're giving the break for. It don't just
That's not
disappear.
necessarily true.
So where do the money go?
That's not necessarily true.
So let's just do
like I
some simple
said,
math so people can follow. Say
like
we got
I
$100,000. We
Okay.
give a tax break and we save that company $20,000. Where does that $20,000 go?
Okay, when you make a appeal on your property taxes and you get a concession on your property taxes, where does it go?
That's what I'm asking you.
Where does yours go?
Mayor, I'm asking because I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
And I told you, why don't we talk to the village attorney? He can tell you where it's deflected or if it's deflected.
As opposed to zero.
As opposed to zero. The thing is, do you want to try to help this business stay in business, or do you want two empty buildings there where we were getting 300,000, we don't get zero, we get zero?
Mayor.
So it depends on how you want to weigh it. You know, now, when they walk away, we get zero.
Okay.
When it's vacant, you're subjected to vandalism. And so what do we need to do then? Then usually boarding up that property falls on the village to secure it. So those are the real
Mayor,
options.
can I be recognized?
Those are the real options we could be faced with. Go ahead, trustee.
When I look at the property tax or the tax burden, I look at what I believe is the ability to collect on those taxes. So if we have a viable business that can pay the taxes, I think they should pay the full share. If there's a possibility that they are unable to do it, then I would look at considering whether or not the reduced tax burden would help them to remain in business and keep them viable. If so, we want to do the reduced tax, or in my opinion, I want to do the reduced tax, because if they do, it just remains as uncollected taxes, which we'll still be looking for those tax dollars, but they'll never actually be recognized. So we'll just have budgeted for taxes that we'll never we will never collect. So to that end, my thought or suggestion for the board would be seeing if we believe we can the maximum amount we can collect from the business, and if not, voting for the tax break at a rate that the business can afford and that we can keep them in the community.
If you look at it, if they walked away in 2 years, we would be losing over $500,000. Over $500,000. So if there was some tax consideration, just say if it was $100,000, whatever it is, because this board has to approve it, and then the county has to approve it. Then you're looking at, sure, they'll be paying a reduced rate, but we will be getting, it won't be, we won't be losing $600,000. So, Trustee Steve?
I'm in agreement. Move forward with it.
Trustee House?
I agree.
Trustee Brown?
I agree.
Trustee Henry?
I agree with Marathon, Dolton Bowl, and the soccer dome. I would like to get more information from the attorney, and then maybe come 2 weeks, I'll be able to change my mind on yay or nay.
Okay. Okay, next thing on the agenda is citizens' address.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. I like to basically speak about the water bill. Now, I didn't want to do a whole lot of reading, and when I say I've been real busy, I had requested some meetings with individuals on our board, and it's always discouraging. So I'm really hoping that this time, in this public forum, I'm going to leave my information one-on-one. I'll leave some with Janet, and I'll leave some with Elizabeth. I am seeking a genuine meeting with some people on my board. One, because this is the first board that I've never had opportunity to have any meetings with. When I send you all the greetings, when you all each got your position, I didn't get no response back from nobody. And why I'm saying what I'm about to say right now, because I have been a people representative for 37 years. For all the years I've been here in Dolton, Illinois, these last 5 years have made me do something that I haven't had to do but 3 times. And usually the reason it's a small amount of times, because it's a rarity that I have to serve anyone that I'm supposed to have an alliance with. And when I have an alliance, I usually enjoy it because I haven't yet met individuals that I cannot work with. And I'm seeking meetings with some of you all for the better of Dolton. And there are some things that I like to show you all, because, see, I'm tired of these situations where we can't talk to one another. We can't sit with one another. We can't have any adult conversations. We can't have good, positive communication. And that's something that needs to be addressed. But I'd also definitely like to let the residents know that for me, House is a facilitator. He's facilitated some of our residents in the situations that we have going on. I've not had a facilitator that I could commend or talk to since House sat here. I am most proud of Tiffany and her Stop the Violence March. I, however, am not proud in the slightest of being a witness to the individuals that came and conducted themselves the way they did. So the reason I'm asking these meetings is because I like to see your charges go away, because I levy them, because I am a representative, and I didn't appreciate being disrespected, and I must respect rules, regulations, article codes, sections, and all those things. Where the feds can't come get me, they will sit with me. And I don't appreciate being put in that position because I didn't ask for it and I'm not an elected official. I am a people's representative and I'm going to listen to the people at all times. On Trash Tree Mountain, I'm asking for a meeting because I have went to court to expedite the moving of those trees. And all I'm seeking from this point on is that I think it's 3 board members that need to go back to court and get their power. Well, why don't you go on and do that before I do it for you?
Good evening, residents. This problem has been resolved, but I just wanted to bring this up for the sake of the village, because I'm pretty sure if it happened to me, it will happen to you. I know, Mayor, it was said that you guys are going to go after the water bill aggressively. Well, let me tell you what my water bill was. This past, my last water bill came to $3,688.38. Okay. Now, I came in July, my meter had been rolled back to 2012, zero consumptions. So I went back further, and I noticed that further in April, it went from 205 to 2015 estimated. Okay, the bill after that came 2012 actual. Well, I don't know where this actual reading came from because it didn't come from me. So when I got this bill, I called. And I'm trying to explain to the young lady what's going on, just like I explained to you. She's telling me, well, Mr. So-and-so said you won't let him in your house to read the meter. You won't let him in. He's trying to get in your house. Reading my meter was not the problem, okay? Because what they got now is my card reading, which is correct. The problem came in is when they rolled my meter back. So how do you roll meters back?
That's what they do.
Well, somebody in this water department is doing something awfully fishy.
I'm tired of hearing about that. No offense, I'm sorry, sir.
You know,
Chief.
I mean, somebody's doing something over there. Because I don't know. I don't know where these readings are coming from. I've been reading my meter for 25 years, and I've never had this problem. But I wanted to I got it corrected now, but I just want to know, how did it even happen? How do you roll back meters?
That's the first I heard of rolling back meters.
No, I know. I can't. July, when I told you I had 2012, and I was telling you mine always started with 25, they gave me zero consumption, and they still charged me $132. Then they went from 2012 to 2620, which is my actual reading. I handed that in. And I went from using zero consumption, now I'm bathing everybody in Dolton. I went from $608 consumptions. You know, I mean, a lot of these people who are delinquent may not be delinquent. People, watch your consumptions. Watch your consumptions. Even if it says, see, my biggest mistake was when I saw the $133, you know, hey, everything's all right. But I didn't check the consumptions. Check your consumptions, especially if you have a problem on your water bill and you have the same water bill. I've had the same amount for 25, not the same amount for 25 years, but whenever it goes up.
The 3-minute mark, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Hold on a minute.
Whenever it goes up, I have the same consumption. But see, it's the people that you try to talk to in the water department. They try to talk to you like you're crazy.
Well, that's going to get better.
Yeah.
I talked to a person that's over the water department today.
Well, she's the one that helped me.
We're going to provide some additional customer service training and
some glasses.
It's going.
I mean, because she pulled up the screen and she couldn't see.
Let me tell you, there's some issues to where water meter readers cannot get in the house. There is a ordinance that says the water department has to get in your house once a year.
I understand that. That's what I was just told.
And I'm not saying this is your case, but in some cases, people intentionally don't let them in the house.
So you roll back the water meter?
No, that's the first I heard about you rolling something back. So I don't know where the error took place, but I'm glad it was resolved for you.
Okay, well, the error took place from the water department.
Well,
and it happened this year.
And I would suggest if there's any discrepancy that you want to bring to the attention of the water department, call them and let them in the house, make an appointment so they can get in the house and check the meter.
But see, you're saying the same thing she said to me. Reading my meter would not have solved this problem.
But it can check and see if the meter is defective.
It hadn't been defective. It wasn't defective. Look.
We've had. Hold on. I heard what you said. I'm glad it's resolved. We've had brand new meters ordered from the manufacturer that were bad. So your meter could be working today and it can go out in the middle of the night or tomorrow. So I think that's one of the, now I'm not sure when the ordinance was put in place, but I think that's one of the reasons that they put it in place.
No, well, I've done that. I had somebody come in, you said once a year. This is the first time I ever heard of, but I did comply. So if you want to come into my house to read my meter, you can't expect me to sit there until they come.
No, I just said if you think there's a problem, which you identified, you call, make an appointment, and that water meter reader is there at the time. You make the appointment at your convenience between the hours of 7 and 3:30.
Okay, but I understand what you're saying, but you're not understanding what I'm saying. Even if they would have came in and read my meter, my previous consumption was the problem. The 2012 was the problem. The 26, which is a card reading, this is what they got, it's a card reading. 20 is 26, it's 2620. That's an actual reading because I read it Saturday, it was 2623.
Now, let me tell you another thing. It's not unusual for you not to have a leak in your house and then your toilet goes bad. Let me finish. Your toilet goes bad over the weekend and it runs all weekend, 24 hours a day before it's even caught. You're at an outstanding water bill. So I'm not saying that's the case, but if you thought you had a problem, call the water department, make an appointment, they can come out and check it.
Well, the best way to know that if you have a leak is that last dial, the little black, the one that goes round and round. If it's spinning, you got a leak.
That's if you check it.
I check it.
I'm just saying that not just you, but I mean anybody that looks at the meter. You know, we have some residents that say, "Where's the meter?" You know, so you have to. Everybody doesn't recognize the problem, as you said. You know, so one of the things that we want to put in place is on Channel 499 is to make the residents aware of how to read the meter, because on some of those yellow cards, it's all over the place when they're read by the residents. So we want to demonstrate, have a person come in. I mean, show them both channels as to how to read the meter and how to identify if you have a leak. So you can have a leak that you don't even hear, but it's constantly going. And until you get your bill, then you say, hey, my bill was only $83 a month, whatever the case may be, now it's $283.
But see, Mayor, that's not the problem. The problem is somebody from the water department rolled back my meter.
Okay. All right. It was corrected, Diane.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, but I just want to know, how did it get to that point?
I don't know.
Good evening, y'all. I'm not going to be mean today, I promise.
Oh, wow. You changed your MO? What's going on? Don't throw that at me. And the schedule to go before, just in case you're going to bring this up, the schedule to go through your alley next week. I already talked to him. Yeah. 151st and Irving, right? Stephanie? 151st and Irving. Yeah. Okay. I drove through the alley.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. And I'm glad that we were actually talking about police today, which is very important. There's no way in the world I would want to lose not one police officer, knowing how serious we need police officers. But my issue today is about a police officer. First, also, Mary Kay, I would like this recorded for public record, if I may. On October 19th, the police were called to a neighbor of mine's home, whom I had been assisting in moral support and trying to help her get her roof fixed. My neighbor is 79 years old with several debilitating issues. The policeman who came out was Officer and Acting Chief Director, or Chief Deputy, Lacey, and Officer Boyd. There were also two adjusters out there at the home that time. One was a public adjuster who was working for the neighbor, and the other one was an Allstate adjuster working for Allstate. Officer Boyd did the corrective measures by making sure everyone who was there had their credentials. I lived a few doors down, so I had to go and get mine. When I came back, I gave Officer Boyd my ID. He handed it back to me, and I walked over to where Officer Lacey was and the public adjusters were. As Officer Lacey was talking to the public adjusters who were also assisting my neighbor, I started taking pictures and recording information as far as with the Allstate's claim adjuster, who actually kind of started everything, and was trying to record the information because I not only witnessed what happened, actually I was some sort of way brought into it, and was trying to record information for my own well-being when Officer Lacey told me to stop. So I started trying to record again. He told me to stop, and if I did it again, he was going to arrest me. And I felt that this was my public right, actually, because I was a part of this incident. I should have been able to record it for my own protection because they were recording as well.
Who was there?
That's Officer Lacey.
That
told me that.
Cam.
Exactly. Well, I'm hoping he has his. I'm hoping because that's another one of the questions I'm going to ask once I'm done. I would like that body cam reviewed because of his treatment of me, and I don't know if it was personal or what, but I don't even know this man. But let me just finish this out real quick.
Can I ask you one question before you go on? Why were the police originally called?
They were originally called because the public adjuster and the Allstate adjuster in front of me and my neighbor in my neighbor's house were about to fight.
Okay.
Because, hold on, allow me to finish. Because what was going on, my neighbor, who's 79 years old, who wanted me there for moral support, she right now has two huge holes in her living room ceiling where you can fit a tire through, and then there's a hole on her roof.
Okay. Is she insured by Allstate?
She's insured by Allstate, so and the reason...
And she called the adjuster and called Allstate to make a claim?
We called the public adjuster and Allstate. Allstate got mad because the public adjuster stated, well, asked something of a question about Dolton Inspector. Let's get their views on it. And the Allstate adjuster got very upset, got mad, and wanted to storm out. And as you know, some adjusters get paid to not pay out claims. So, but then what they were saying was that her roof was too old or something, but she had been trying to get her roof fixed for 10 years. Okay, but I'll finish this and then I'll answer whatever questions that you have after that. I asked him immediately why he didn't answer me in reference to why I had to stop recording, but he just kept taunting me, letting me know and telling me he was going to take me to jail. For me, that was a red flag. And I know he was wrong, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I didn't want to be disrespectful. Couldn't understand it, but okay. So when the public adjusters were done talking, I tried to give Officer Lacey my statement. He didn't want to hear. As a matter of fact, he started behaving obnoxiously disrespectful towards me. Every time I would try and ask a question, he wouldn't answer my question. He just started talking to me in a very condescending and intimidating tone and kept taunting me. I looked at him and I asked him, I said, officer, I said, did I do something? Did I say something out of place? Did I do something wrong? And he still just kind of ignored me and kept taunting me. So that's when I looked over at the other officer, which is Officer Boyd, and I asked Officer Boyd, I said, Officer Boyd, did I say anything or do something wrong? He was like, and he was looking as confused and baffled as I was. So finally, I was able to talk to Officer Lacey, and I was able to try to give him my statement as to what was going on, in which case I told him I was assisting my neighbor in trying to get her roof fixed and being by her side for her understanding. Officer Lacey then asked me, was I her power of attorney? I told him no. Her daughter lives in Minnesota. That's her power of attorney. And then he told me I can't help her and I need a power of attorney, which to me he was wrong again, because I wasn't asking her to sign no paper, no contract. I wasn't asking her to give up no money. I was only there for moral support to make sure that she understood what was going on. You say help your neighbor, and that's what I was trying to do. And everybody on my block would tell you I always try to help my neighbors. At any rate, which I thought he was wrong again, Officer Lacey then just started acting rude towards me, taunting me, bullying me in a manner as if he wanted me to react to his strange behavior, like he wanted to take me to jail. So again, I looked over at Officer Boyd. I was like, Officer Boyd, please, did I do something wrong? He said, ma'am. He said, no, you didn't. Because he was as confused as I, and this is why I would like this tape pulled for Officer Boyd and also Officer Lacey, so we can understand where the problem is. That is also when the public adjuster who was working on behalf of my neighbor told me, she said, Stephanie, just go in the house, because she knew that he was taunting me and was talking to me in a rude behavior. He didn't talk to nobody out there like that but me. Nobody but me. So as I was trying to go into the house, Officer Lacey did said something so stupid to me in the effect of, you ain't got nothing to say now, huh? I was like, what? I mean, I'm like...
Stephanie, I understand your concern and your confrontation with Officer Lacey, and I'm not sure why you're bringing it to this forum, but there's a proper procedure for a complaint, and that's to go to the police department and fill out a complaint so it can be investigated. Now, he's not beyond approach. He's not beyond getting investigated, and certainly he wasn't trained to conduct himself. I'm sure that he wasn't trained to conduct himself like that with a individual. So.
Well, I'll tell you why I didn't take it to the police station, if you allow me to finish this real quick. And I wanted definitely you to be aware. I needed the board to be aware. I needed the public to be aware, because if this man is suffering from some sort of mental illness, everybody needs to be aware. And he needs to have that camera on. I don't care where he's at. But however, to add insult to injury, he went over to the Allstate insurance adjuster, lady's car, and he started talking and laughing profusely. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead, do what you need to do. Bottom line for me, I thought these were red flags to me. And I feel that Officer Lacey's integrity should be questioned, because whatever it is that you don't like about me, and you don't even know me personally, don't mean that you should take it out on your professional job of protecting me as a citizen, and I'm helping to pay your salary. Never in the history of Dolton have I ever been a part of or witnessed anything as atrocious and dysfunctional as what he showed me on that particular day. Again, I don't know Officer Lacey. I've never had conversation with him. We've never met face to face. So I'm trying to figure out, what is this that you have against me that make you even want to taunt me and talk to me like that? And I asked the other officer as well. He said, ma'am, I don't know what's going on, you know? And I asked him, had I done something wrong? He said no. But also, in effect to that, he's kind of to me like a loose cannon. And right now, again, I don't know if that's a cry for help. I don't know if he's dealing with some issues he just haven't spoken to anyone about. And again, it's not my issue to come here and shut down or strike down police officers. I know we need them. I know we need them on my block, and I would love to have police in my neighborhood, you know, but with this type of behavior, definitely they need to be trained about temperament as well. But when I went to the police station to try to report this, and the lady reception officer, I told her I wanted to put a complaint in against an officer at Dolton police station. She said, okay, fine. She said, you have to speak to the supervising chief. I was like, okay. She said, who you make the complaint against? I said, Officer Lacey. So she laughed, right? So a minute later, Officer Lacey comes through the door because he's the supervising supervisor. So there's no way that I'm going to voice my complaint to him, and he did this so nonchalantly. Oh, just get her name and her number down and give it to the chief. He'll give her a call. And he went back where he was going. You know, so it was a form of disrespect. Again, I would love for Chief Mobley to go ahead and look at those recordings to see, so you can train this officer how to talk to people when he's out, because I said nothing wrong to this man. And I don't know what it is personally that he may have against me, but he don't even know me. And to treat me like that was unbecoming, it was unprofessional, it was very disrespectful. As a matter of fact, acting chief deputy. So, but that's pretty much all I have to say. I would like to see those tapes if I may also, or if you can tell me how I can have a chance to witness what was going on with that, or what entity do I need to go to kind of look at this, because again, I think that might be good for training purposes for the new police officers who are coming in. Because again, I don't want to lose not one, but we shouldn't be disrespected by the same people whose salary and whose homes that we're providing for.
Okay, I would suggest that tomorrow, Chief, what's your availability tomorrow?
I'll be in at 9 a.m. from 9 to 5.
I would suggest that you, whatever time's convenient for you.
Another day, because I got to do a thing at the VA tomorrow, so.
Okay.
Well, after the meeting, just get with me. And
I got you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
For all the citizens that's here and who's watching, if you ever have a problem with anybody that falls under the police umbrella, you can come in and ask for a citizen complaint. They have those in the lobby. The clerks can give you that. You do not need to see a supervisor.
Citizen complaint form.
Yes, citizen complaint form. What you do with that form, you fill it out in detail, and it's a back page on there, the last page. It's an affidavit. You will sign it and get it notarized and turn it back in. And then that's when the official investigation starts. But I will talk to you after the meeting, okay? Thank you.
Good evening, residents. My name is Barbara. I needed to ask a question about the water bills. Under where it says, "Dear residential customers," I don't know when this took place, but I've looked on all of my bills and they seem to be saying the same thing. It says each residential customer is assessed $5 per month, $15 per quarter sewer maintenance fee. For multifamily buildings, this fee is assessed per unit. I have a single family house, and I'm wondering, why is it every month there's an increase other than $15? And when I asked the lady at the water company, she said that when your water bill goes up, then the sewer bill goes up. I said, well, that's contradicting itself, because if it states down here it's $5 a month, $15 a quarter, it should be $15 every quarter, and it shouldn't go up at all. But it is going up.
Tomorrow, why don't you go? It's affecting you right now on that water bill?
Yeah, I paid my water bill on the 15th.
Okay, why don't you go to the water department and ask for Sonia tomorrow and
Sonia,
and
okay.
they would correct anything for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
How you doing? My name is Charles, and I'm up here with a water bill issue too. Basically, if you ask me, from what I'm seeing and from what I've been hearing out here, I think that the problem truly is in your system. I came here and I worked with the women across the street, the individuals across the street, and the individuals over here. And they done everything they power to make sure that, my bill was corrected. And they did the work. But then after we got finished with everything, I received this letter right here. Now, my name is Charles Muldrow, not Taisha Henderson. My address and everything is right, but the name is wrong. Sometimes, when you deal with individuals, especially when they have to work with the public, they may sound like they are being rude. They may act like they are being mean, but sometimes it's just not their fault. The individuals that work in here and work over there, they're just strictly input. So I think that if there's a problem with your system, that means you have to talk to your IT person who works with your system, or there's a problem in the field.
Yeah, we've had some issues with our system. They were in yesterday.
I mean, I'm kind of seeing that you do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
And we have some new people over there, and there's been some mistakes. We're trying to get on top of that. And, you know, in some cases, if we had, how long you been in your
I've been living in town, Dolton, for 4 years, and I've been having problems with my issues with my water bill for the last 4 years. I had adjustments, you know, corrections, this, that, you name it, I got it.
Okay.
They had a problem with me, the street and place, and all that. And this is the first time I ever seen something like this come.
Janice, can you take a look at this?
I mean, like I said, she's the one who did. She helped me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And she did exactly what she could do.
Right.
In
But I
order
mean,
to
on the name
make it right.
issue, on the name issue, I'm not sure what happened there.
Once again, it you know, what can she do if she only works with what she sees? That's all she's doing. She's doing her job. But if she doesn't
apparently
have the proper,
there's a problem there, and it needs to get corrected. Right now.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'm
So-
just saying, as far as I know, she's a person that works with, you know, the bills. She's
Right.
not tech.
Yeah, right. We have a technical person, but Locust is the program that we use. We had them in, was it yesterday or Friday, I think it was.
Or is it being backed up every evening? Or are you backing up every once in a while?
As far as I know. To be honest with you, I kind of stay away from the water department.
I don't think you want. I think you might want to rephrase that, Mr. Mayor.
Exactly.
I think you want to more or less say that you're going to work on it.
Let me say this. Let me say this. I'm not going to rephrase it because I kind of stay away from it. When there's really major issues, they tell me about it. I had a conversation with a person that's running the water department today, asked about some issues. She mentioned the fact that, Mayor, we need to get some more training on customer service. But, and I'm going to say this in regards to the customer service. Some of the people come in and subject these clerks to almost fisticuffs. Now, I don't expect any employee to take that type of abuse. Now, when you're working with the public, you got to be a little bit more thick-skinned than the average Joe.
Yep.
Because you get accused of all kind of stuff. And I understand what the mistakes on bills and other issues, they're mad.
Yeah.
But that's not all the residents. Some of the residents understand there is human error, and when you're trying to balance 9,200 households over here and individual accounts, there's errors that occur. Now, let me say, Dolton is not the only town that has problems with the water department. All of these towns have problems with the water department. I just told Sonia today, we're going to set up some appointments with other towns where she can go in and review what they do and see what works and what doesn't work, but to try to make a comparison on how we operate our water department. But if you talk to these water department, the people in these water departments, these other towns, they have the same problem. They have same issues, overbilling, mistakes, and things like that. So we're not the only one that has that problem. Dealing with water bills is one of the biggest issues. And in some cases, when people complain about their water bills, oh, my water bill's $300, they don't realize part of that is the sewer and part of that is the trash. And we've had increases on both of them. So I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but
like I said, I wouldn't treat them fairly.
We have to get better, and when there's a mistake, hopefully there's somebody in there that can help you correct that mistake.
Like I said, I wasn't treating them fairly.
Yes.
I fully understand that they have to deal with the whole town of Dolton, not just me, myself.
Right.
But like I'm trying to say is that most definitely y'all have to look into what input they're getting. They're not out there in the field.
And we're doing that. We're doing that. There's just a number of challenges. When you have employees that, especially when you bring new employees in, you're trying to train them, the propensity of having more mistakes is there. So we're trying to correct those mistakes and make the water department a better place to work, not just to work, but to improve on their services to the residents.
So are you trying to? I'm just giving a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
How do individuals even get a chance to even have a meeting or anything. I mean, right now, we don't even receive no notices about disconnection bills.
Well,
You know, I mean, I understand that, you know, y'all have a budget. I can understand that. But have y'all actually even tried to go to a volunteer type of system type of thing?
What do you mean volunteer?
I mean, have you ever went to anybody to say if they can pass out flyers or pass out information to people, to individuals? See, right now my water's off.
Okay.
And before I pay $505, I want to make sure 100% that that's what I got to pay. And I'm
Okay.
paying my bill. As someone said out in the crowd, I'm not paying everybody else's bill. I'm just going to pay mine.
Call the water department, set an appointment. They'll send a water meter reader out there.
No, that's already been done.
Okay.
Everything has already been done. Like I said, once again, my water is off.
Okay.
I live right down the street from the water department and right down the street from here.
Okay.
So, you know, right
So
now.
what you're saying right now, the only thing that's wrong with your bill is the name on it?
No, the only thing wrong with my bill is I don't know if this is properly my bill or if this is Taisha Henderson's bill.
Well, the thing is, you said the water meter reader came out.
The water meter came out.
Okay, so they verified the reading, right?
He said I only had to use 88 units.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm sitting there like 4 years and I don't use 88 units. That means I'm not using that much water.
All I'm saying is that any given day, your unit could change. Whether it's a leak, summertime, people water their grass,
I can understand that.
vacations. So you said somebody helped you to verify it. So the thing we need to do is change the name on the account.
You can change the name on the account, but is this person individual's bill? And see, really tell you the truth, when I turn around and walked around trying to see the other person who lives at place, I come to find out that that house is a rental.
Okay.
So if anything, this address right here was his place. We got to get that landlord. Now, see, my problem might be a little bit more deeper than just sitting back saying, well, you're going to let these individuals who work in this place handle it. I think that my account should be itemized and see exactly what's wrong. Because, like I said, as I've been staying in Dolton for 4 years.
Okay.
And I've had a issue with my water bill for 4 years. I've got so many adjustments, I can line up to my house from here. So there's a problem at 520 East 144th Street.
So what do you think happened when they came out and read your meter?
I had them read the meter inside in my basement and also compared to the reading outside. Both readings was the same.
Okay.
So it's like I said, that right there came back. But I'm strongly believe that I'm being charged for place, not street. Or I might be charged for place and street.
Who helped you?
The last individual that did help me was the young lady right there.
Okay.
That was the last person who helped me.
Okay, why don't you see her tomorrow? Because I can't determine what's happening right now.
I do not have a water bill problem. But Mayor Rogers, with the security patrol service.
Why don't you pull the microphone up closer? Yeah.
With the security patrol services that you guys are proposing, what time would that security take place, and how many hours do you anticipate them working, and how many officers would be included in that group of people?
As Trustee House said, we're going to figure out where we are budget-wise. That plan can be customized. We're going to take a look at all our hot spots that we've had, repeat occurrences and crime, and then we can fit that, put the plan together to fit where they should be, the hours that they patrol, whether they're going to be stationary or roving. So all that has to be determined.
Okay. And secondly, the gentleman that was here representing the company,
yes,
he stated that there was no difference in cost in armed and non-armed, and that his company hold lots of different insurances to cover liability.
Okay.
So would that assist you in stating what Tiffany was speaking of and having armed security? Because frankly, I think the community do a lot of eyes and calling in when we have issues. I do. So I'm just a little confused. Why do we need other eyes if we have 90,000 people in Dolton that are the eyes of Dalton?
We
Are
don't
gonna pay
have
somebody?
90,000 people in Dolton.
Well, however
And-
many people we have.
And in some cases, people are afraid to call the police because they think the police going to tell them. And we've had a problem with that. With the police, well, your neighbor called us on you. So I think right now, since we can't afford the police officers, any additional eyes that we can have to call the police, to have them come in and assist, is well worth the money, especially when we're paying close to $700,000 in overtime. Now, we don't have the money. We haven't budgeted the money. We haven't received any grants in regards to hiring any additional police officers. And like I said before, if we hired the security company, whether it's this one or somebody else, at a rate of $35, is way cheaper than hiring a police officer and paying for pensions and medical benefits. So this could help us suffice in giving some additional complement to the police department.
I understand that, but I guess my concern is, where is that money going to come from to hire an additional security company?
We have to budget for it. There's going to be some constraints in overtime. I've talked in depth with the police chief, in depth with the fire department, and we just can't afford to spend $700,000. That's where we are close right now in overtime. We just can't afford to do it.
Okay. I still don't understand.
May I be
I'm
recognized?
thinking if we spending money here and we have to have money to pay an additional service, where do we get the money and we don't have money for additional services, where do we get money?
The
to
money
pay
we've been spending
additional?
for overtime,
So the overtime money is going to cover the cost of this
it probably
proposed
won't
company?
cover the total cost, but you have to look at the cost of when there's an incident, when police murders, shootings, and police work overtime, 10 hours, 8 hours. You have to look at that cost. So if we can be on the offense instead of always being on the defense, it's going to decrease the money that we have to put out. So I think excuse me if I was wrong, Mr. Wilson, I thought you said it would be additional cost for arm. He said it's not. But when you yeah, okay. Yeah, but when you arm people, the risk is higher.
Sure.
And the incident is higher. And so to limit that risk of liability, I would like to have them unarmed. But as he mentioned, they're going to be retired police officers or active police officers going to be patrolling. They are experienced. They know what could possibly lead up to a criminal offense or any type of suspicion. So I think, and it's done in other communities.
Well, as a resident, I'm not opposed.
Right.
I'm just concerned about where the money is going to come from to pay them if we don't have money to pay our own officers.
Okay.
That's my concern.
As I said again.
Secondly, and the time that they're going to be available.
We're going to look at all the instances. Right now, we're getting intelligence information from the Cook County Sheriff's Department. We're going to look at those hot spots, and even with the police department, we're going to try to deploy those officers in the areas that we have problems. But as I said before, even if you deploy, even with the shortage that we have, you deploy those officers in the areas that we have problems with, they may get a call for domestic, they could get a call for a fight, other shootings in other areas, but they cannot, out of an 8-hour period.
Okay, I don't want to be repetitive. You sort of stated that.
Yeah.
And lastly, do we still have state police that's out?
State police are assisting on patrols. Cook County Sheriff's Police are assisting on patrols. But one of the things that they saw was the crime is not just happening in Dolton. They initially sent their additional complement of officers here to Dolton, but now they're patrolling Harvey, Markham, what's the other community? Riverdale and Robbins, East Heights, Fort Heights. So their complement of police that they had that were actually concentrated in Dolton has been limited now.
So they're not being effective. If they're spread it out.
I didn't say that. Even the police.
So how effective are they?
They're making traffic stops. They're arresting people. Okay. The police that we have here, they're working. They're arresting people. But, you know, after we had that conference, that summit, and I brought to the attention that I said, hey, I think Dolton has been unfairly targeted by the media because, and if you've seen now, you've heard about the murders in other communities that surround us. So they've deployed their officers in some of those other communities to try to assist them too, because everybody's just about to have the same problem with the shortage of police officers. You know, when here in the last 5 to 6 years, the increase of crime that has kind of shifted a little bit from the city of Chicago, and we find out a lot of our offenders come from the city of Chicago. All of us here that's close to the expressways, that has easy access back to the city, are suffering from a shortage of police and an increase in crime. And those crimes that usually didn't happen in the south suburbs, your carjackings, your murders, your aggravated assaults, all the shootings, that's just really started happening here in the last 6 to 7 years. So that shift in crime, we're exposed to all the communities, not just Dolton. We have murders in all these other communities, and you'd be surprised. You know, people always say, well, it don't happen over in so-and-so. It does. It does. It just hasn't been reported. So,
Thank you.
So at any rate, we're just trying to do something to try to help the community be safer.
Good evening, Board, Mayor, residents. Just a quick question about the public hearing that's happening Saturday. Is that the only hearing that's going to happen on this subject matter?
Yes.
So for those that may not be able to attend, that have an opinion one way or the other, how do we talk about that?
Well, as you know, all public meetings and all town hall meetings are never attended by 100% of the residents. So we've announced this. We planned it on a day off, where some of these other towns have had their meetings during the week, and people said, I'm at work, I can't attend it. So we try to put it in on a date that people are usually off. So hopefully we will have a attendance by the residents that will.
I do understand that point, but if you absolutely cannot make it and have an opinion on it, how can you address it?
Go ahead.
Anyone that wishes to express a written opinion can do so by addressing an email or a written letter to the Board of Trustees. I would suggest that you make that anyone that wishes to do so and comment further, address it to the Mayor and Board of Trustees, care of the village clerk, and then I will make sure that everyone gets copies of that.
So the meeting will be recorded?
Yes.
Okay. Another question. I'm happy that you're having a public hearing on that matter. Will there be a public or town hall meeting on the other issues such as water bill? Because it seems like a lot of people have concerns about their water bills, and there are other issues within our town that cannot be addressed at the board meeting but really need more conversation.
I haven't thought about having a town hall meeting on the water bill issue. We've made some changes in the water department, and me personally, I would rather have the individual, if there's a conflict, or not a conflict, but if there's an issue with the water bill, come in and talk about it and try to get it resolved.
Well, residents, do you want a town hall meeting or do you not? I mean, I think that we need to have one platform to really talk about it because, again, these board meetings get long. So if you're going to address the cannabis, why not address water bill? Why not address other issues that are happening? I think that...
We'll have 15 town hall meetings.
No, you have one and address the issues. Just have, we've only had one since you've been in office, and I attended that one, and I was over at the church over on, I believe, Evers, or somewhere over there. But there has not been another meeting to address issues, and I think that we should have that.
Well, all these meetings that we have in regards to board meetings, I think that so many of the residents have brought those issues up.
So, okay, let me just interrupt. So when are we going to have resolution? Because, as you stated, we do have these meetings, the issues come up. I don't see resolutions. When do we have the resolutions? Because the same issues are repeated every board meeting. It sounds as though they are. And I would love to see some resolutions, some plans put in place. We're not good at documenting anything, so we don't know the direction of where we're going. So I'm just asking for you to consider that, and we'll come back to that another time. Just one last question for Administrator Scott. Did you get any feedback from the Census 2020? So the application was submitted, and we're...
No, I'm submitting second round.
Okay.
There's different rounds.
Can you put your mic?
Something stated
The mic.
about $2 million. So there was a census amount that was allotted through Lori Lightfoot. That's for the city.
Okay.
Through the county, it was $1 million. So I know someone had said before that it was $2 million. It was actually $1 million for the county, $2 million for the city, and we have nothing to do with the city. So
I think that it has to be stressed for our residents to know that we have to be counted, because some of the issues that we're struggling with, if we're not counted, they will take our resources away. So we have to get on board with that. So when that happens, complete communities, I'm definitely going to be on board to help push that,
Absolutely.
and everybody has to.
And regardless to whether or not we get the money, we are going to push for the census because it benefits us.
Absolutely. So let me know when that happens.
Will do.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Mayor,
Hi,
trustees. Just had a question about the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So I kind of think that the 90 days is probably more realistic because of those venues that have signed contracts for 2019. Some of those contracts may be signed for the period of, say, from 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So in order for them, or they could have had contracts already extended into 2020. So I think it gives them time to go through the contracts to see, on the rightful thing for the village, to be fair to them, because they may be obligated to a time that now is going to be changed. So that's why I just think that maybe to be effective January 1, 2020 would be a little fairer to those people, to the venues. Possibly even the local lounges may have something, I don't know. But that was just a thought that I had.
Yeah, some of these places book a year in advance.
Exactly.
So whether we made it December 15th, January 1st, February 2nd, there's going to have to probably be some modifications on some of those contracts that has been booked for a year or so. So we'll talk about it. Hope to give the occupants, the owners, the tenants, the renters that operate in these facilities time to make their adjustments.
Right. And the other question was for Mr. Wilson. I don't know if I could address Mr. Wilson.
Okay.
Mr. Wilson was about the conceal and carry, what I call versus the off-duty officer. You said the off-duty police officer is going to be carrying a weapon because they're off-duty. But then you said conceal and carry, you can only do that if you are assigned.
Private citizen dealing with concealed carry. As long as a police officer have went through Chapter 720 of the Illinois State Municipal Code dealing with AMOC, being a peace officer, he or she will be carrying 24/7.
Now, the police officers go through what's called IROC, and they're entitled to carry their firearm when they're off duty, with some differences in policy for police departments. Some police departments say, even though you're off-duty police officer, if you're a retired police officer, you can't carry your gun if you've been drinking, for example. So there's different policies in place for different departments.
Now, if you work in...
Could you grab the mic? Grab the mic.
Oh.
Did I answer your question, Pat?
Nope.
Okay.
Because okay.
If you're working for my agency, I apply for a TAN.
Mr. Wilson.
If you're working for my agency, I applied for a state TAN card. That state TAN cards mean that you are working for my agency and you can carry up under my agency. That means that my insurance, my liability, workman comp, and everything else covers you while you're working for me. That takes away what you're doing, dealing with. It goes against the department that you're working, that you 100% with, because you're with me part-time. You following what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. Okay, you know what TAN card is, you know what 720 is, and IMAX and all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
But that was a very good point you said. The liability falls on you.
Yes, ma'am.
So in the event that something did happen, you're liable.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
village is not going to be.
No. And if it turned around and it came to a thing, we could sit down and we can work it where the village is covered up under my umbrella.
The thing is here, even if we have a private security company providing security for us, and an incident happens, when the lawsuits happen, they usually go for what they think is the deepest pockets. You know, so we still would probably have to defend ourselves if we're named in a lawsuit to exempt ourselves from that. Now, in signing a contract with professional private security, they would have to present all their insurances and provide us with a certificate of liability to make sure that we're covered under the security service that they provided.
That's up under my umbrella.
Okay, that's clear, but I just want to say that it's a terrible thing when you hear on the news so-and-so shot by off-duty police officer, because you know that's what they're going to pick out first, whether it's going to be a security firm or not. They're always only going to hear off-duty police officer. So I just wanted to clarify for myself the difference in that and the conceal and carry and the liability.
Yes, it is a difference in concealed carry along with the tan card. It's a total difference.
Okay, well, I know you all got it, so that's just my opinion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'd like to ask Mr. Wilson a question. Are all of your officers off-duty or retired police officers?
My officers are different municipalities. Just to let you know some of how they are. I have some that are retired county. I have some are Steele County. I have some that are some of the suburbs out here.
Okay, so they're all off-duty or active police officers. Do you have any security officers?
I wouldn't put security officers over
That's not
here.
what I asked.
Yeah, I have security.
Okay, that's what I asked. Do you have any security officers? Now my question would be to the mayor, the chief, and the board. Will the firm that you bring on board be vested? And when I say vested, I mean vested by the city. Will you make sure that the credentials are in order? Because I have a firm. I know about certificates of liability. I know about adding a company on it. I know about the insurance that is mandated by the state, but I know anybody can put anybody's name on a lawsuit they want.
Right.
And if one of my officers, your officers, or anybody else shoots somebody in the village of Dolton, my company, your company, whatever company it is going to be on that lawsuit. Village of Dolton is going to be on that lawsuit too. The only thing I'm saying is your people must be vested, because if any one of those officers is a security officer and not a police officer with his credentials, that means he's only got 40 hours of training. 40 hours of training. He can do 40 hours in a classroom and come to work tomorrow with a gun. Thank you. Just know what you got. And I'm not taking anything away from you.
I don't feel offended.
The majority is state certified police officers.
But my question was, do you have both? Because
Yes, ma'am. I have both. I have both.
we need to be sure of what we have. I can't just take the word that that's what's writing in the
Can we have that mic, Mr. Wilson? Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, department heads, citizens of Dolton. I have a question on the TIF, forgive me, not the TIF, the aid that you guys want to give to Dolton Bowl as well as the soccer dome. They have been before this board in the time that I have lived in Dolton. So, and you, Mayor, you said that they had to apply for this each year?
Not a Class 8. They apply for an appeal on their taxes,
Right.
like anybody else can.
Okay, but...
And I'm not sure what they were in front of this board for, if it was before my time.
Okay, well, they came in right, well, you were trustee at one point when they came in.
And what did they come in for?
For just that, the assistance,
Class 8?
because, yes, assistance because they were not getting the kind of participation or
Can you research that?
business.
Because I don't remember them coming in when I was a trustee.
Yes. And then also, does the Dolton Bowl or the soccer dome, do they have a pouring
They do,
and a gaming? Correct? Well, you get a gaming, you get a pouring, right?
if they choose to.
But they do have one, correct?
A pouring license, yes.
They have a pouring license and a gaming license. What gaming?
I'm not sure. I think they have gaming in the bowling.
Right, that's
but not in
why-
the soccer.
Okay, not in the soccer?
As far as I know, no.
Okay, it's because I don't think anybody's been in there recently. Have they, in the soccer? Has anyone been in the soccer dome?
Who is anybody?
The trustees, the mayor, the Mats,
I've been in
whoever.
there. I don't know if they've been in there. I know that their season started October 1st.
Right.
They usually go 6 months, and then the place is closed from after the season is over.
Right, it's closed because they said that they can't house us because we tried to utilize their building to ask them to donate it for other things, and they wouldn't be, they said they couldn't do that. So that's why, with the board agreeing to do this, I mean, bottom line, I feel that responsibility then comes back on the taxpayers. So they have a gaming, they have a pouring license. I'm thinking that, all right, we get our, you said something about fair share. If they leave, we don't get anything. But my thing is that to have them accessible and available to the whole community. They've been here for years. That owner's been here for years, as long as I've been here.
I forgot what he told me, the cost to turn the key,
Right.
just to open it up with the lights, the gas, the employees, the insurance. So it's quite a bit of expense.
And I understand that. So I'm asking the trustees, you guys, to think about it seriously. Trustee Henry brought up a valid argument about the storage company, and they said how much it cost to them, and they were going to pass it on to the residents if they didn't get it, and blah, 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 blah. You know, so, I mean, you have to think about it in its totality of everyone.
They can't pass anything over to the residents if they don't get it.
I understand that, but he said that they could increase the prices. If they didn't get what they wanted here, they would increase the prices to their customers.
But one thing you have to take in consideration is that they have competition. There's plenty of storage places here in not Dolton,
right,
but South Holland, Calumet City, Lansing. So I don't necessarily agree with that statement because everybody's is fighting for competition that's in there. You know, and I took a look at the bowling alleys that's here in this area. There's only two.
I agree.
Castaways and Dolton.
And Castaways have survived.
They have survived
barely
at a different tax rate.
Exactly.
At a
So,
different tax.
and what I'm getting to is that even with the guy that came in here and profusely had an issue because he couldn't get a pouring or a gaming a gaming license at the hot dog place that took Dairy Queen's position on Chicago Road, and then we find out that he's a convict. He's a felon. He's wanted by the law. He came here, he talked about how much money he had put into that business, all of that stuff.
Ms. Creighton, I don't see how that, but let me finish. I don't see how that is relevant here. He didn't get the license.
He didn't get the license.
Okay.
He didn't get the license. He didn't get the license.
He didn't get the license. How is that relative in comparison to $300,000 in taxes? I don't see that relevancy in comparison with
whether
that.
he's big or small, whether they're big or small, is still, okay, whether they're big or small, okay?
The owner of that restaurant is paying the taxes.
Right.
It's unoccupied right now. He
is.
He has not come in and asked us for any concession.
No, he's
in
not
regards to-
anymore because he's
Okay.
on the run.
I'm going to ask you this, Ms. Creighton. Would you rather see two empty buildings that we don't get anything, Or would you rather try to keep a business in place even if we had to give them a small reduction?
Mayor, that small reduction is what?
We don't know.
Exactly.
It has to be assessed by the county.
It has to be assessed, but before it was put on the agenda, it needed to be assessed to see what our loss would be according to the budget.
I know what our loss would be if those two buildings are vacant.
What are they?
$300,000.
Okay, and you also said that for the gentleman, the company, the restaurant on Chicago Road.
What did I say?
You said that there would be a loss. It would be a loss to the village if that company was not, that hot dog stand was not open, and that he would give back the way he had given back. All I want to do is parity.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
And that's fine.
And we've got it on the record. I disagree with you.
Okay, all I want talking about is parity. All I want is fairness across the board. Okay?
And I agree with you, Ms. Creighton. It should be for everybody, not just certain people.
If there's been I'm not going to say anymore.
Okay. The next thing I have to say is that I have flyers in the back of the room. There is a food sanitation class going on at Thornridge on this coming Saturday, October the 26th, from 8 to 6 p.m. If you're looking to get your certification and food sanitation, it will be there at Thornridge, and the cost is $50. And there's also, and I know that we have other events going on, we'd like to also mention Hands Across Harvey, which is a community event with our students from District 205 in formulating this Stop the Violence rally. So I know that someone will get up and say, well, we need all money. All money ain't good money.
I'm sorry, I forgot to acknowledge Ms. Janice, and I want to thank her, because it's making a difference for the residents to know who they can definitely come to where they don't get brushed off. Thank you, sweet lady.
Oh, thank you.
And resident
Brittany.
Good evening. I'm just listening to everything, and I understand that everyone is not understanding why the businesses want an additional tax break, but I'm administrative assistant on the Chamber of Commerce, and as everyone knows, just from a home buyer standpoint, taxes are at an all-time high, like the mayor said, in Thornton's community. So some businesses are saying, well, hey, if they leave, what the mayor is saying is if they leave, that $300,000 deficit will at some point become all of our problems as residents, because what happens is when you lack the additional tax money, the revenue that the businesses bring in, then at some point the taxpayers have to make up for it. So that's kind of like where we are. It's kind of like having a vacant property. I mean, some taxes are better than none. So I think that's all the mayor is really stating, that the $300,000 difference either way will really feel it if they do decide to take their business to another city, because that's $300,000 that another city has as opposed to us. And right now the residents our goal is to get our taxes as low as possible also.
Correct.
So that's where we are. Have a good night, guys.
Okay. I'd like to get a motion to adjourn. Oh.
Good evening. Question, did we apply to the state for the census funding?
No.
You still have some options. You still have a chance. November 4th, they're supposed to be awarding the sub-recipients. They released a list of the RI, the regional mediators for the state, last week. I was notified that even though most have applied to be a sub-recipient, you can still apply before November 4th directly to those RIs, try to get that fund, because our region is a suburban region, and there's going to be between $3.2 or $3.5 and $5.5 million just for our suburban region, which is suburban Cook County. So I know we applied to the county, but you still have an option to try to apply for the state money, because it's probably going to be, I know the county money is $25,000 awards. There's a chance that we can probably get some more, and it's just an option that we can
Why
apply.
don't you come in and try to assist us with that issue?
Definitely.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
We'll take your assistance on that. I'd like to get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned, seconded, roll call.
Trustee Steve?
Aye, yes, aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I may have your attention for just one moment so I can hear the roll call. Thank you. Trustee Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Holmes? Not here. Trustee Henry?
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Motion.